Today we are talking to an absolute living legend. Sat One is a DJ and artist from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So if you want to learn how to have a long career and last in the music industry and not just burn out with whatever the next fad is, this is the podcast for you. Sat's worked with everybody from Eminem, DJ Jazzy Jeff, DJ AM. This guy's been a staple in the Philadelphia music scene for decades. So you can dive into this, learn how to extend your career, make it long, make it last. Give this video a like, hit the subscribe button. Let's dive into this conversation. It's a really interesting one.
So what I wanted to talk about on this panel is kind of, we have a lot of people at various levels of their music career. Now you've had a long one. So I want to kind of talk about that balance of like, how do you maintain relationships? How do you maintain a career to make it, to give longevity? So I have a bunch of questions surrounding that.
Sure,
so,
perfect, let's go.
Awesome. So you've had a multi-decade career.
Yes.
In a field that changes constantly, especially being a DJ.
It gets weirder and weirder every year.
Right?
Yeah. Especially what you guys were talking about, especially like my just to go on, you're talking about social media. I always learned it wasn't about how many followers, it was about who was following you. That was like always the rule. I'm still kind of following that rule?
Absolutely. Like, in my opinion, and it's a controversial one, but like it's what the social media platforms are saying is like followers don't matter anymore.
Yeah, I never really looked at it like that. Yeah, I always wanted the eyes that should be looking at me.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, and they're them type of people, like and real fans also, not fake ones.
Yeah, exactly. So that was the thing. Like once you could start buying followers, like they stop mattering.
And how you're supposed to know your gauge if you're growing or not with that?
Exactly.
And I don't see that's just you're kind of faking funk.
And now with the algorithm doing it, the algorithm goes and finds the right people for you.
Yeah.
So it's like it's more.
My brain wants to explode just talking about it right now.
I hate it.
But it totally sucks the fun out of it. Yeah. You know? Anyway, sorry.
But no. I love that we could tie the two together. But what do you believe is the single most important key to being, to having longevity, but still being able to, maintain your creativeness and maintain who you want to be, as opposed to just jumping on trends and stuff like that?
Being authentic and being you, like getting where you fit in. Like definitely don't be a trend jumper. I think, we always got to play the hits. That's part of our job and all, but like kind of play it your way. Don't get stuck to a certain genre. I'm not, I think being a DJ, you're supposed to love music all around. Don't get stuck in one thing. I come from hip hop. I love hip hop. That's kind of like where I'm a fan of all music, and like just being a fan of one genre is just not the way to go. I see a lot of guys like, I'm this type of DJ. I'm not. That's not the way it really should be, in my opinion. And I think you're supposed to I call it also turning garbage into gold. I forget the caster's name in Philly. But anyway, like the idea is like grabbing music maybe you're not a fan of, maybe playing it in a cool way, like playing it your way, and just putting your touch on it. So when you hear somebody play, you want to hear them.
Yeah,
you kind of like, even though we're playing other people's music, but playing it your way in a sound. Like I think with technology, especially like there's a thing DJs are doing now. They sync. And it's like, they're not even really doing anything. It's like, it's the machines doing it for them. And I look at it like, if you go to see a band, wouldn't you be pissed off if they're lip syncing and acting like they're playing instruments? That's the way I approach DJing like a musician.
Yeah.
And I still have that idea of a musician. I actually started as a drummer too. I'm a drummer also. So I kind of like have that musician feel to DJing. If that makes any sense.
So I love that. Now I have no musical ability, but my business partner DJ Hirsch, right?
Yes.
So
yeah,
just that's something that I find.
Is he here?
Interesting. No, he's not. He's doing a wedding today.
I
but he Hirsch, I for anybody that's ever been to one of our events, Hirsch's background again is also in hip hop and top 40 DJing, and I came in with an idea of doing these emo night things that we do, and he was like, he fucking hated it, but he liked the crowds. But now we're years into it, and he's re-drummed songs. He found a way to make it his own. And I think one of the things that like I love when I hear you say like your DJ approaching it as an art and a musician, and that's what I find that he did. Like the difference between there's a million emo nights out there, right?
Yeah.
The difference between us and other things is like you go to see another emo night that's named after a city that we're not going to bring up. The dude just hits like an iPad, and he never steps back behind the tables again. He's out front doing the nonsense that I do.
It's
Whereas,
not authentic.
yeah,
And
exactly.
I think that's really that's going to tie into everything I want to talk about is being authentic and being you. Like, don't try to be anybody else. Like that's, and I come from an era where you can't, if you copy somebody's stuff, you be considered a biter, and it was frowned upon. Like now it's kind of like it's okay. Like certain things that were definitely not okay are okay now. And it's like,
Yeah,
I don't know. I still follow the old rules of how I got into this, and I stick by them. I don't care what anybody says on YouTube or whatever. Like I don't know. I kind of just kind of always beat it to my own drum, and I think that's what keeps me kind of still relevant.
yeah.
And I still enjoy it. I still love it. So that's another thing. Like I think that's another key to this. If you stop like not enjoying it, then you shouldn't be doing it. Then you're doing it for all the wrong reasons, and that's why. You have what we have.
Yeah.
You have more of them type of DJs and the guys who love it.
Exactly. I think that's why you see, like, I mean, you see it across any genre of music, right? But I feel like in the DJ world, you see people come and go a lot. Like, you come in and there's somebody's name that's out there for like a month or two, or maybe even a year in a certain market, and they're like hot and then they're gone. But then there's the other guys who are the stalwarts of either a scene or that, and I find that's.
And also, like, there's ups and downs, like anything. It's like there's going to be them moments where it's great, and there's going to be them moments when it sucks, and the moments when it sucks are important. Like they're the ones where you have to really step up and challenge yourself and find and reinvent yourself and figure out. Even if you don't like the music, figure out what you do like about it.
Right.
Don't hate music.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And don't diss music. Like emo, like I know nothing about emo, just what my brother plays. But I'm actually, that sounds like a challenge to me, and it's interesting. Like that's the way I approach it. I wouldn't like.
Without a doubt, yeah.
It's fun. I look at that as fun.
Yeah, and I think that's something that like, and for anybody, any genre you're playing, if you're a guitar player, if you're in a metal band, anything like that, I think you could take that across because different opportunities come up. Maybe you get to play a festival or a room that you wouldn't have. And how do you make people a fan of what you're doing without changing who you are, but also applying it to the crowd or the place you're playing?
Yeah, and I also think it's why are you really doing it? Are you half these guys? I don't really think like music, and they're doing it for like the clout.
That's the weirdest thing to me, right?
I don't understand that.
I'm a little bit older too.
Yeah.
Like I'm 40, so like when my I see my little brother, like when he's talking about stuff, I'm like, oh shit, like it's the to be seen or this like idea of what you want people to perceive you as opposed to like a true love for it. And I see musicians, like everybody here is taking things serious. They're out music artists, but I see musicians all the time in every genre that are just doing this. They think that that's what people want to see of them or what they want, how they want people to perceive them. They don't really care about the music,
But at least musicians are actually playing. There's something, there's practice. Where DJing and right now technology is really destroying it, and it's kind of devaluing everything. It's like something that used to be cool isn't as cool as it used to be. And it's kind of like, and I don't want to sound like the old dude get off my lawn, but I've been a part of like all the changes from records to digital. And as technologies go, how far is it going to go to the point where like it's already doing it for you? Like, what's the next step? You're going to have AI, you're going to sit at home and send a hologram? Like, what are we doing at this point?
There, right? Yeah.
It's like, what are we doing here? And I feel like that's why I kind of still DJ just to kind of be out here. This is kind of like, I kind of feel like it's a responsibility at this point.
I love that. Yeah, no, I think that's great. So I had a different question, but with that, do you feel like as a DJ, right, and you're developing your sense or your sense within a sense, do you feel almost like a steward for that music or like a historian of music where you're able to introduce people to a certain side of like a responsibility to that of like,
yes,
I'm not going to just play this song that I like absolutely hate and I think's garbage. But I'm going to introduce people to things.
I usually would nowadays because kids are so like their attention span is very weird. I kind of just draw them in first. I gotta get them first, and then I mess around and have fun. But like I know my job at the end of the day is to get them interested in having fun, and it's about buying drinks too. Yeah, so it's like there's a whole thing with it's not as easy as the way I approach it is like it's still a business.
Yeah.
And I still look at DJ. I look at different sides of DJing. Like I have the club side of me, and I also like the scratch battle side, musician production side, like kind of like the more like musician aspect of it. Yeah, that's the stuff I really enjoy more than clubs is still kind of more of a job I look at, but I still want to bring that element into it.
Like create an experience.
I'm still playing pop music at the end of the day.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah.
It's almost not a, it's almost equivalent to a cover band at the end of the day.
Right. That's interesting. I never really thought of
Kind of what we're doing.
Yeah, 100%. So how do you approach the need to, you said how you came through the various genres of it, the need to adapt and maybe tweak to technology or styles during that time? Like how important is that, or how do you do that? Because I think that could apply to bands as well. Like if you're
I really don't, again, I just feel like, especially the way music is going, it constantly like changes. But one thing I do know, it always comes back around. And I'm going to talk about hip hop for a minute, especially where hip hop hit the ashes. Like it got so bad. It just, again, was a cool music and it got destroyed. And what's happening now? All the OGs are coming back and the old guys are still the best. And why is that? You gotta really think about that. It's because it's authentic. It's the original stuff, the original formula.
It wasn't made in a bedroom on.
Yeah, and it was all for the right reasons.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's a little more substance behind it. Yeah, no, I agree with that. Can you take a moment and reflect on your career when you face like a significant setback? You said there's ups and downs.
Mm-hmm.
So setback or a super change, and how you manage to push through it and move on.
I think when the EDM stuff hit, that was a very interesting change, because everything at one point was I was playing rock, 80s music. The range of music I was playing in a night at a certain time was amazing. But as soon as EDM and that wave came about, and half these guys weren't DJs, they were like producers that became DJs, fake DJ. And when that all came, it really fucked everything up. It changed everything. It really just it kind of, again, devalued everything, and it made it very obtainable, made it easy, anybody could do it type attitude. Mm-hmm. So and nobody was really following. I feel like there's a code and nobody was following it anymore. And nobody was sticking up for it either. They were just kind of giving it away.
I know. So that hit, to tie it into everybody in Kitchen on DJ, like that hit every genre in that that 4-year period where that just went nuts. So like I owned a club at that point, and we were a rock club, and like there were a ton of bands, and all of a sudden every kid that was even in a hardcore band was a dubstep DJ, right? They were taking their their double bass pedal, and they're like, oh, I can make dubstep from this. And the only thing that would bring people out for like a 2-year period was dubstep.
I was going to ask you that. So like, did it become like people just, when we're doing electronic music, more electronic was popular than guys playing instruments with skill and all that?
So this is like we're talking 2009-ish, in like maybe late 2008 to 2010, right? That pre that for about a 3-year period, metalcore was like.
Now what? I'm not familiar.
So like punk rock influenced metal, like heavier stuff was like
thrashing.
Yeah, like I could throw a show around here, Allentown, Stroudsburg, like Harrisburg, and like that was like a guaranteed 500 people. Like if it was a national band, right? No question about it. And there were a million kids in bands, like from like 2005 to that area, or you could MySpace area, you get bands all the time. But then all of a sudden the dubstep hit, and every kid was just like, and also social media was getting big at that time. So
and dubstep, you mean it sounds like a Transformers coming through the roof?
Yeah.
Which is always cool, I think. Like Skrillex.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's also what happened. Skrillex left a metalcore band.
Yeah.
Formed that.
It sounded like metal. It did a lot of his stuff. It was cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Great,
so all
great
these
sound design and stuff he was doing was great.
Exactly. Yeah. But then every kid had an iMac and could try to do it,
Technology,
Exactly.
It's a curse.
And it's a lot easier to be one person than a whole band and get along and communicate.
And money, I'm sure.
Exactly.
To pay at the end of the night.
Yeah. Exactly. So like I sold my club.
No shit.
We were doing the EDM stuff, and that's all that was drawing people. Like I was booking and names that maybe don't, like New Found Glory.
Yeah.
Bomb.
Well,
Flyleaf.
Well, of course, my brother.
Yeah.
So Grave Street Pub, I guess early 2000s, we had a DJ hip hop room and we had a band room, and it worked phenomenally.
Yeah.
They would cross, and it was a very interesting time. I love that. That period was really cool when it kind of like was respected on both platforms.
And that was the thing. Before this, I would be doing that, right? So we'd have a rock show one night, and then like a Hirsch DJ one night, and like we were crushing, and all of a sudden it just like condensed and went to this one mono thing, and like we just could like I didn't want to figure it out. All I knew was I had to throw like we were throwing like raves like and like it was just like that kind of I just couldn't get past it. Like I whatever respected it, it was fine. Like the bass nectar stuff and all that stuff just took over. And I had an opportunity to sell and I just sold them. I was like having anxiety.
And was that because your heart wasn't in it? You're like, this ain't my thing.
Yeah, I couldn't. I became so like Vinny's here. I love Vinny. I didn't ever want to be a bar owner. I hate drunk people. Right? So like I owned the club to do music and was dealing with drunk people for dealing with it, right? And then when it became, oh shit, instead I'm just like dragging people that pass out of the bathroom and finding people in the ditch. And because there was just also a culture around that was like, it was when Molly was like getting really big and all that. The culture around it was just something I was just like,
and it wasn't your thing.
Yeah, it's not fun at all. So, I also had an opportunity to do it and had another opportunity that came up. So I did it. But like for the first 2 years of having a club, it was great. I was 22 years old and did it. But, so I definitely feel that you're talking about there. But it was this cultural moment. Yeah. I think like, that Barstool Blackout tour played a big part in it because like they blew Avicii up to that level, and then all of a sudden
that was a terrible. I mean, that's what changed a lot for DJing for me. It kind of like destroyed what it really was about for me. Like these guys ain't even DJing. You know, they're faking it. Well, it's really vanilla. That's the way I look at it. You know,
we were talking. So I was talking about this with Image last night, right? So we are talking about that. I don't know how familiar anybody is with the brand Barstool.
But, I work for Barstool.
Okay, yeah. So like the first 2 tours they booked Avicii.
Yeah.
But then levels hit, and it went from Avicii was getting 500 a night to 50,000. And so they got Dante to come in, and just like they tell stories about he'd be like there'd be 500 people dancing out there, and he'd put a cardboard cutout and be like in the back eating hoagies.
Yeah.
You know, and playing Avicii, but just put an Avicii mix on it.
There was a friend of mine, Diplo, who actually was from Philadelphia, and before he was Diplo, we did Beat Society. It was a beat battle event at I think it was called a 5 Spot. Remember 5 Spot? Oh, yeah. So, make a long story short, I remember him talking because when this was all breaking, he was explaining like these guys are making hit records. And basically, nobody's really getting paid off of the records. Like all these DJs are playing these records. How are these guys supposed to make money? And he kind of broke it down to me like that. So I was like, okay, I understand that. So I kind of backed off a little bit of it, and I understand. Okay, I do play levels. It's one of the biggest records I was playing. So it's like, okay, I understand why he's doing what he's doing. Yeah. But it still screws shit up.
Yeah, for sure. It changed the art form for sure. Had its effect on it for sure. So yeah, I find that super interesting. One of the things that when I was doing a little research for this panel that I found interesting is your if you're a sports person, your coaching tree or the branches that like you have out from different people. You talk about networking and how important that is to like the longevity of a career. Because yours, I think, is like the coaching tree you come from, but then also the coaching tree underneath you of guys that I have crazy respect for. I think it's like wildly impressive.
You know what? I think a lot of that stuff was just being good, being the best you could, and just making sure you're. I feel like them type of people, if you're at your high level and you're always being good, I feel like they come to you almost. A lot of these, it's almost like a small, unique group of people. If you really break it down, there's not a big percentage of really talented DJs really in Philadelphia, especially now. So it's kind of like we're all into the same thing. We all kind of represent the same thing. And I think that's a lot of how I got connected with a lot of people. But a lot of my connections really come from graffiti, like being a graffiti artist. I get hired to I was more known as a graffiti artist in the beginning, before a DJ, and I was getting hired to like paint video sets and all, and that's how I kind of met a lot of these guys. They would hire me to do graphics and shit, and I'm like, hey, listen to my beats, hey, listen to my mixtapes, know. That's how I kind of, I kind of like use that as an in. And I was also working for On the Go magazine. It's a Steve Powers. He's a famous he's a friend of mine. Okay. So he had a magazine at the time called On the Go, and a lot of my beats were on there, and that kind of like. Production got me more connected with a lot of these people than DJing. DJing was kind of like later on.
And would you say that network has sustained, and that's to like maintain a career?
And I think it's also being, again, authentic comes in. Like,
Yeah.
just being you. You know, it just there's no getting around it. When people can smell that shit when you're being fake. You know?
100%. I agree with that. So how do you ban? We already covered that one. What roles have like mentorship played in your career, right? So we talk. There's a lot of people here who like I build a network of people. So find people that you can then rely on and go to for questions. And I know like there's a lot of people at this channel that try to be that for people, and we really harp on that as much as we can. So like mentorship in you, like either mentoring somebody or having a mentor in specifically how it applied to your musical side of the career. You know?
I feel like yes, we call them old heads. You know what I mean? Like the guy that would kind of like you kind of like have to like carry crates, earn their respect almost, like kind of like offer up your services. You know, carrying crates was a big deal. So it got me in a lot of clubs. It was like how I carried crates. You know, so and kind of just being around and showing that you're into it, you're willing to put the work in. I think that kind of like also helped me out a lot. But I also taught for a Scratch Academy in Philadelphia, and I was a teacher. I was teaching. I always, there's a saying in hip hop called "each one teach one," and I still I feel like it's passing down. You have to do that. It's almost like a passage you have to do. I think musicians in general, it's part of the whole cycle. Keeping it alive is important. You know,
And I love that. Like, so I see that a lot with like I go to Hirsch. That's like my clothes, but I see him talk to the young DJs and give them advice, or like I'll see him with like before I was as immersive, I'd be like, oh, your minion, like who was helping him, like come set stuff up, or like my buddy Zach, who was a drummer, like for years I saw him with people that would be helping him out, like with the drums and doing that, but he'd be leading them into other aspects of the music industry.
I started as an intern at Touch of Jazz with Jazzy Jeff. That's kind of how I started. Like I watched Jeff mix Jill Scott's albums. That's how I learned how to mix records, was watching him, and he would just tag me along. The next thing you know, I was his tour manager. Like I worked with Jeff for almost 15 years, not even DJing or opening up for him. I was like his dude. I was checking us in the hotels. I was doing all that shit even before he would even had me open up for him. So that was a long period of time before I even got that opportunity, which was a very small period. So I learned so much. I prefer that than actually opening up for him. Like I learned so much just being that person, you know?
Man, you're hitting on all the stuff that I love, right? So I find, in various things that I do now, and there are a lot of younger people here, and I feel like there's like, because social media has put like that success, that's all it shows us constantly, or society is always just like, you don't see the struggle, right? Because you're seeing everything that happens in everything.
And I feel like you
don't see that.
If you don't have a foundation, it's going to crumble eventually. You can't, you gotta know every aspect of the business. You can't, it's like owning a bar. You should know what the bar back's doing. You should know all aspects of what you're doing.
And I think that gives you a different perspective.
And I learned so much. Like I didn't even really know how to mix records. I didn't even know I wanted to mix records. And I became a sound engineer for a long period. I mixed a lot of hip hop records, like Jedi Mind Tricks, like other stuff like that. Like I still mix underground hip hop records on the side too. I still love the art of that, which I would have never came upon if I wasn't an intern and was willing to swallow my pride and do that. So in the beginning I was mad. I was like, man, when am I going to open up? What the fuck's this about? Kind of my ego set in a little bit, But now looking back, I'm like, God, I learned so much, and I would have never done it a different way if I redid it.
I think bands, like I always tell bands, you're going to learn way more from like the worst gig you ever played. Than the best one. Like the best one's just like, I feel great and dopamine fix. But like, what did you learn from the struggle?
And it's funny, like when I was playing in Atlantic City in its heyday, playing for like 1,000 people, like it was easy. It wasn't really a challenge. I could play fucking polka music at that point. You know what I mean? It's when you have 5 or 6 people in the room, that's how you know how good you are, and are you willing to perform for them?
Exactly. You're going to give them the same show that
if not better.
1,000. Exactly. Yeah.
Because there's more eyes on you.
Exactly. So I have like 1 or 2 more questions. Then we'll open it up. Like, the way I like to handle panels, I think that the crowd interaction is awesome. But so many DJ or many artists just in general find burnout pretty quickly. Like, how do you avoid that? Like, having done so long, like everybody gets burnt out, but like, how do you stay in love with what you do?
I know I really never had that problem, because I like, if I'm not feeling music, I'm fortunate I go to painting. Like I don't know, I just kind of have this like thing like, all right, this ain't working today, I go to something else, or I take time off. I think time off is important, listening to other things, You know what I mean? Like I feel like taking a break's important too.
Yeah.
Don't work to the point where you hate it. So I see a lot of people end up hating it. I'm like, because you're working, you're looking for the wrong things. I feel like, you know?
Yeah, without a doubt. And
You know,
that's maybe something like don't make your entire personal life.
again, I just love it still. I still love music. I don't know, it's the only thing that kind of keeps me going. I'm 51 years old. I feel like, I don't know, I have this like, I forget I'm that age. I feel like this is part of it. It keeps you youthful. You know?
Yeah, without a doubt. I was talking to Vinny last night, and he's like, "There's gigs that you do because they're work, and there's gigs you do to keep you in love with it."
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what he said it to me.
Oh yeah, and they're the ones that pay nothing.
interesting,
You're pretty much doing them for free.
Yeah, that was that like hit home, you know, when you were saying that. So finally, like, I would love just like you're talking to a young artist, they're starting out, regardless of genre, but like the most important or like the best lesson you ever learned, like as far as having a career goes, like somebody gave you that one piece of advice that stuck with you.
If you have the opportunity and you have a good run, prepare for it to drop off because it's not going to last. Prepare for the worst.
Yeah.
When you're up there, prepare for the worst. If you're fortunate enough to ride that, because I definitely been there. I made a shit ton of money, and then thinking it was always going to be there. Especially during the bottle service days, the money was great. When DJ AM was alive, man, everybody was making money. The numbers were great. You know, it went from, you know, and then now it's not that. You know, and now it's the numbers are okay.
Yeah.
You know, and you got to work more but preparing for that moment where it's not going to be this. I think that's really important. If you were fortunate enough to get there, you know,
Completely agree with that. I try to tell bands that all the time. Like,
because it will happen.
yeah, the music's cyclical. It's ups and downs, and it comes back around. But
You know?
there's gonna be droughts in the middle of that.
And also health.
Yeah.
You know, right now, you know, being older, I have arthritis in both hands. You know, and thinking about health insurance, all that shit's very important, especially being a musician, using your hands. Like, you gotta, these are important. Like, take care of them. And to be honest, I didn't. You know, I kind of, again, you forget how old you are.
Yep.
And taking care of yourself, diet, all that stuff.
Yep.
You know? And drinking, drugs. Just be careful with
Yep.
that shit. So many people are losing their lives from that stuff, especially now.
Especially now.
Stay the fuck away from all that stuff.
Without a
You
doubt.
know? It's important.
Anybody have any questions out there? Anything? Just what's up?
I mean, listen,
Are you fucking kidding me right now?
Sat One is one of the most influential people in my career. I will just give his flowers and say and I still say this to today, is that everybody I speak to, probably one of the most talented people, multi-talented. He's artistic, visually artistic, musically artistic, and just he helped my career up. So,
Oh man,
he's always one of the people I always mention. Sat is like one of the people.
I'm just amazed that you're here right now. Weren't you living in Pittsburgh at one point?
I was for a long time, but
I had no idea. Oh, this is amazing. This is such a treat to see you, my brother. Oh, and I thank you. I'll give you money later for saying that. Well, cool.
Yeah.